Who are you?
Call the Alan Cox Show. 216-578-1007 or 1-800-348-1007.
Poundcake, who is this? It's a deep dive, so the floor is yours.
Oh, God, they're white.
You are correct. They are.
It's not the Mama and Papas, right?
It is not. Nope, 70s primarily.
Oh, God, I don't know.
It's okay. This is a band called Fleetwood Mac. It's one of my favorite Fleetwood Mac songs.
Stevie Nicks?
No, it's the other one, Christine McVie, who has died. That's a real bummer, boy. Christine McVie was 79 years old, and she died in the hospital. And Fleetwood Mac, one of my favorite bands. You want to talk about a band that put the music over everything else. How those four people got through drugs and everyone sleeping with everyone else and infidelity, and they were like, the music's more important than anything we're doing. By far their biggest album was Rumours, and they followed it up with an album. You know, how do you top that? They followed it up with an album called Tusk, that at best is an acquired taste, but this is a song from that. And Christine McVie is singing. They all were able to sing. I mean, Christine McVie sang, and each one of them, as a testament to their abilities, each one of them singing had their own hits. Like there's Fleetwood Mac hit songs with Christine McVie singing and Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, and their harmonies were unparalleled. And they would split up and they'd come back together, and, you know, she left in the late 90s. She left after about 30 years. And she was married to John McVie, who was the bassist, but I think he, like, banged Stevie Nicks, or Mick Fleetwood was banging Stevie. Everybody was having sex with everybody. But she's got an amazing voice, and I didn't even know she was sick. I don't know if she was sick. Gwen texted me and said, Christine McVie died. And I was like, that is a real bummer, because she an awesome voice. She sang Little Lies. She sang Don't Stop.
She the one with the Christine McVie's BJ challenge? Was that her?
No, that was Christy Mack, the porn star.
I didn't know she changed her name for porn.
No, she was 79.
I don't remember these things. They happened so long ago.
No.
So that wasn't the where you built Lego.
No.
And then.
How dare you? No.
I'm just.
No.
I'm not allowed to be confused about people that have similar names.
Well, I'm clearing up your confusion.
All right, but I don't know why you're saying, how dare you?
She sang Don't Stop. One of the most famous.
Stopping.
And then stopping, ever stopping. She sang Don't Stop, very famously the Bill Clinton campaign anthem back in the day. Well, that's Lindsey Buckingham, but they all sang together. She did a song called Songbird. She had a bunch of hits where she was the lead vocalist. Say You Love Me was another Fleetwood Mac song she sang.
What's the timeline on all that? Because I know that they had a bunch of different people in the band. She was never in the band with Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, she was.
Oh, she was.
The most famous version of Fleetwood Mac, because it started John McVie and Mick Fleetwood were playing, I think, in John Mayall's Blues Breakers in like the 60s. And then they formed Fleetwood Mac with Christine McVie and John and Mick. And Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks were dating, and they were a duo called Buckingham Nicks. And I think Mick Fleetwood saw them and was like, we love your songs, we love your harmonies, why don't you join our band? And so the most famous version of Fleetwood Mac
has them all in.
Was Nicks, Buckingham, Fleetwood, and the McVies, who divorced while they were still in the band. And then she split in the late 90s, and they all kind of went their separate ways. And then there was this weird version of Fleetwood Mac that was like Becca Bramlett, and it was weird. So that's why it was such a big deal when they reunited, I think, in the early aughts. I remember taking my ex-wife to see Fleetwood Mac for Mother's Day one year. And it was an unbelievable show. But they pretty much ruled the 70s. And then when they went out last time on the road, and Lindsey Buckingham said he wasn't going to go, they finally had some huge falling out, I guess. And now Stevie Nicks is doing that co-headlining thing with Billy Joel next summer. But each one of them had their own share of hits as lead vocalist. And I always felt like Christine McVie kind of got the short shrift because Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, took so much air out of the room that, but she was and they all did their own solo stuff. Christine McVie had her own solo albums. They all had solo hits and they all had hits with Fleetwood Mac. That's how amazingly talented these people were. But I don't know if she was sick or if it was a natural causes thing. I don't know what, but that's a real bummer. That means that there will be no further Fleetwood Mac reunions. That's what I take from that. It seems like it would make it virtually impossible to do that.
Well, that is a bummer.
Alan,
But she
Rumours
had a
is
great
hands
life.
down the best album about, by, and for a group of people cheating on each other. Yeah, it's wild. I mean, if you ever watch one of those, and again, if you're about the art and you put the music above everything else, it's very difficult to do.
Another reason cheating gets, nobody looks at the good side of cheating.
Nobody does.
We wouldn't have the album Rumours if people didn't cheat.
Yeah. They get
So maybe it's not so bad after all.
short shrift.
Mary.
It's not how that.
But imagine you're Mick Fleetwood and you have had sex with Stevie Nicks, cheated on your wife with Stevie Nicks, and Lindsey Buckingham was in a relationship with Stevie Nicks. And you got to tell your wife, I'm not breaking this band up because we're writing such great songs. I mean, again, California.
Listen to this stuff.
In the 1970s, everybody was banging everybody else, but still, there's a whole thing there. So
Pretty cool. It's a cool album.
yeah, Rumours is great. I like Tusk. Again, compared to Rumours, nothing was going to live up to that. So they really there was really nothing they could do. But even by those standards, Tusk, people were kind of like, eh. But I think Fleetwood Mac's fantastic. If you listen to us on the iHeartRadio app, tell me where you do it if you're from out of state. I like to know where all of our bureau chiefs are. We had somebody resign because they moved back to Cleveland from Columbus. Mark listens in Key West, Florida. Bryce is a bureau chief in Fort Hood, Texas. Joe is in Phoenix. Adam is in Michigan City, Indiana. And Trucker Sean listens to us in Surprise, Arizona. And, of course, you can always leave us messages there, too.
I hate to keep coming on here, but you keep saying the whitest things possible. No straight man ever imitated or went crazy over Michael Jackson. And you so-called were a radio dude in Detroit? I'm from Detroit. I'm from Motown. You still see dudes imitating Michael Jackson. You see him in Chicago. You see him in Miami. You see him in Philadelphia. Just because you live in the suburbs of Bay Village and I don't see that while I'm climbing ladders doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Hate the show.
What is he coming after me for?
Because
For
you're
living in Bay
ridiculous. I agree with him.
I'm from Detroit. I'm from Chicago, son. Michael Jackson's backyard. Don't ever come for me. Ever.
We're coming for you.
Ever.
'Cause you
I've
just-
lived all over the place. What, you think I popped up in Bay Village last week? I've lived in neighborhoods that would turn you white, by the way, which is all Michael Jackson wanted to be. I'm not talking about street performers. I'm not talking about Michael Jackson impersonators. I'm not talking about mental patients on the corner moonwalking. I'm from Detroit. Straight dudes were not fanboying over Michael Jackson back in the day.
Yes,
I don't know. They were not.
were.
Dude, he was 6 years away from death when you were born. I'm talking about the blazing hot Michael Jackson era, Thriller era. I was in like the 7th grade. If you told people you liked Michael Jackson, they called you a fag. There was nobody over the age of 10 that was fanboying like that over Michael Jackson. Does Corey Feldman look like he's playing with a full deck?
What do you
Yes,
mean? Does he look
absolutely.
like he's playing with the full
I'm
deck?
from Detroit. Who cares? That's not the point. Listen, I loved Michael Jackson, but I'm not talking about impersonators and street performers. All kinds of guys love Michael Jackson. Yeah, quietly. They weren't fanboying over him, is my point. This is all born out of the conversation of Taylor Swift v. Michael Jackson. And it's an impossible conversation because it was, somebody left a message and they were like, Michael Jackson had film directors doing his videos. Nobody does it today. Yeah, because nobody makes videos.
But if
they don't pay attention to videos anymore. Yeah, John Landis directed Thriller because it was a 14-minute MTV world premiere. It was just a different time.
But if Taylor Swift said, hey, I want you to direct my music video, there's not many directors that would turn her down.
But also,
because that's going to be huge for them.
But if
she's going to pay him,
and by the way, I'm not saying there weren't straight dudes that like Michael Jackson. I loved Michael Jackson. I'm talking about fanboy dudes because that's what we were talking about. Poundcake was bringing up these crowds of screaming people for Michael Jackson, and Taylor Swift doesn't have that. She does, and there are straight. We got texts from guys. Alan, I'm married. I got kids. I'm 33. I love Taylor Swift. Yeah, but you're not wearing Tay-Tay pick me out of the crowd t-shirts is what I'm saying.
I was playing Hurdle with Jeremiah from Kiss earlier, and I was all excited. Cause
what is Hurdle?
Hurdle's like Wordle, but you
hear it's like the
Name
That Tune
Name
thing.
That Tune,
Yeah. Yep.
So you get like a second of the song, and you got to, then like they give you a little more each time. And my first guess, I was like, oh, I actually know this because I don't know a lot of pop music, especially like the more recent stuff. And I was like, this is Sunflower by Post Malone. And he put that in, and I don't know why he listened to me because he knew it, and it was Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift, which they both start kind of similar. I just hadn't really heard Anti-Hero from the beginning, so I didn't know that. But that's a dude that's almost 40 that listens to Taylor Swift.
Yeah, again, obviously all kinds of people listen to both of these artists, but the argument was over the size of their crazy fanboy mob. And it is largely females who are going kooky, right? Because grown-ups have other concerns.
Yeah, but Taylor Swift's got grown-up fans going kooky.
Yes.
She's got...
Understood. But you take my point.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, Alan. Hey, Michelle.
What's going on?
So the one of the producers on Rumours and Tusk and a few of their other albums was a guy by the name of Ken Caillat.
Yeah.
His daughter had a few minor hits a few years ago.
Colbie Caillat.
Wrote 2 books. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Bubbly and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So he wrote 2 books, one on the making of Rumours and one on the making of Tusk. And if the affairs inspired the music, the blow led to the music. They did more.
Oh, yeah.
They did more coke and shot up more heroin. I mean, and he's unabashed about it because he was taking part in it too. And a guy by the name of Richard Dashett, who was the co-engineer and co-producer with him. Like the band just nonstop. Mick carried around a locket around his neck with a cocaine vial. And he'd like have them, get down on their hands and knees and beg for coke during the session. So it was.
That's what we need on that show.
Mick Fleetwood was also I think one of the first guys, if not the first guy, to develop the body drum suit. Right? He'd walk out there front stage and he would have the pads on the bodysuit and play them and hit them. And Mick Fleetwood wasn't Neil Peart, but I mean, he was a very formidable drummer.
No, but when I saw them a number of years ago here in town when they did the one big reunion tour after the MTV special, and they came through, and I was blown away by like how aggressive a drummer Fleetwood is. He doesn't get the credit that he deserves because live he was just this like bashing drummer.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, live he has to because the songs there's not a lot of heavy lifting there. But what happened to Colbie Caillat? She was pretty foxy back in the day. She had a few hits.
She had like a couple.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
I mean, she was like the first.
2 or 3 and vanished.
But that Bubbly song was. She's the first artist to like break from MySpace.
Oh, was she really?
I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Her dad's a big-time record producer, and she had to go through MySpace?
She probably wanted to make it on her own accord.
I think he helped her out, too.
Yeah, I mean, he still helped her record it and stuff.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, she was on American Idol, too. She went on American Idol first.
Really?
Yeah, Colbie Caillat went on American Idol.
So.
When I was in St. Louis, the station I was on was kind of a little more chick-leaning alternative, and boy, do we play a lot of Colbie Caillat. Because at that time, I mean, we're talking 10 years ago. At that time, those songs were huge. Realize and Bubbly and all that crap,
Well,
Okay, hey,
since
listen,
then,
Sean, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tom. The John McVie bass line, the breakdown in the chain when it builds to the end of the song is fantastic. I'm just going to let it play out. It's fantastic. One of the best riffs ever. So simple, and it just builds. So good. It's like lightning in a bottle with that album. All those songs on Rumours. Like,
That's why I gotta do drugs and cheat on people.
as a band, you're like, guys, we're never gonna recreate this, but we'll have some hits on the way. But every song on that album was
That's why I can't get into
megawatt
country.
track.
No heroin, no cocaine, and they're always singing about how they're loyal.
No, they're not.
there's plenty of heroin.
Most of the female artists are singing about killing their husbands.
Well, they're mad, but they want them to be loyal.
Because they get
That's-
cheated on,
yeah,
so they're
yeah.
going to kill you.
Well, it's like
Ruin your
Well,
stuff.
write better songs.
it's like
Maybe
the,
want to cheat on you.
it's like the Tammy Wynette George Jones series that's coming up. It's Jessica Chastain and Michael Shannon are playing Tammy Wynette and George Jones.
Oh, that's good
I think it's on
casting.
Showtime.
That's really good casting.
It's great. And those country artists, they're like, you can punch them and they'll
Keep
stick
on
around.
singing.
Whatever.
A country
It was
art-
just a different kind of vibe.
Well, it's just a different. I mean, that was just relationships in general back in the day.
I get, well, stand by your man.
A lot more.
She said it right there. She was standing by her man no matter what happened.
slapping sounds.
Yeah.
A country
Like
artist
the White Lotus.
named Jake Flint died after his
I
wedding.
saw that
Did you
on his
see that?
wedding night.
Like 3
Oh.
hours after he got married.
This
He's
dude?
37.
What? That's such
yeah.
a bummer.
He was like a guy on the come up in Oklahoma,
Mhm.
and he got married.
Died in his sleep.
He's a fat ginger. That's why Mary
get
was
married.
paying attention to the
God.
story, because that's her type.
she likes
You
those-
gals and your fat gingers. I get it. This guy,
Historically.
he dies in his sleep, 37.
hmm
Boy, I don't even know how you get your head around
How
that.
sad was that? Like, you go from the best day of your life to the worst day of your life.
Yeah, his wife's like, I'm supposed to be booking our honeymoon, and instead I'm picking out the suit he's going to wear in his coffin.
Yeah.
Jesus
Probably
Christ.
could have just worn the one that he wore to the wedding.
And I mean, who is going to fill that void in country music in Oklahoma?
Nobody.
There's no one else. It was just him. Hey, Jeff,
Hey, what's going on?
how are you?
Hate the show.
Thank you.
I got a bone to pick, man. You can't say that only gay people were fanboys over Michael Jackson.
I didn't say that. I said if you were straight and said you really were into Michael Jackson, people called you homophobic slurs.
Not at all. I
Okay.
I was born in the early '80s. I had a beater jacket, and I remember going to school dances. And anytime if Black or White came on or the Thriller song came on at a school dance, everybody was singing and dancing along to that.
You're a little
That
bit
was
younger than the
popular
generation
song.
Alan's talking
You're
about.
a little younger than the generation I'm talking about. And also, a school dance, everybody dances to everything. You're dancing
Yeah,
the
but
music.
still,
You're
that's
not
what I'm
dancing.
saying.
Right. They can play whoever. School dance, they don't care. People are happy to be out of the house. So you play whatever, and people are going to dance to it. Nobody's going to be like, I'm sitting this one out. I don't care for that artist. It's not, the DJ doesn't have heavy lifting there. It play whatever. I take your point, but that's not really what I was getting at.
Okay.
Where'd you go to school,
That's
Jeff?
what I went to Parma.
Yeah, well, there you go. I don't know what that means.
I don't know
Okay,
that
thank you,
either.
Jeff. I appreciate
I feel
it.
like that, like just liking music in general in Parma in the 80s, they've been like, what's up, homo? You like the arts?
Yeah, the arts. ARTZ. Hey, listen, am I stupid? Yeah, maybe. Am I wrong? Probably. I'm just telling you what I know. You don't have to agree with me. People get so mad when I know things. Why do they get mad when I know things?
See, I'm of the generation that this guy was talking about, and Michael Jackson was very cool to us, but I was also a small child growing into adolescence through all that whole thing. So, like, when he did Black or White with Macaulay Culkin, I was 8 or 9 years old, and like, yeah, that's gonna be cool to us. But you're talking about like men, or
yes.
like even like high school or older.
Listen,
in that era,
boys are asexual, right? I'm talking about men.
That was a very sexual boy.
Yeah. I'm a sexual boy. I wonder if I could get that going. Hold on.
I don't know if I want this to get going.
1, 2. I'm a sexual boy. I'm a sexual boy. How about that?
Poundcake, can you beatbox?
I'm a sexual boy. Sexual boy. Sexual boy. I'm a sexual boy.
Can you beatbox?
This guy.
Louder?
One louder, but also like some
What
sort
was
of
that
rhythm
beat?
to
What was that?
I don't know.
Jesus.
He tells me to jump. I say how high.
I noticed. But
He didn't say jump. He said beatbox.
Well, I can't do either.
He can't jump or beatbox. Yeah, I know that. Wow. All right, well.
I like I'm a sexual boy.
I'm a sexual boy. Yeah. All right, I got to take a break. Oh, Christine McVie. Oh, she's the best. Great. Okay, I got a lot of stuff I got to get to today. We'll get to, I got video from Terry the Goat. We'll get some video from Carlton, PA on Wednesdays. We'll get her picks tomorrow. I'll have a trip to LA for that sold-out Alter Ego Festival that we're doing in LA in about a month. 5/10. I have one of those trips to LA for you and a pal. We'll get to the Poundcake sports break later on, too. And if you want to text for anything, 35192, and we'll be back.
It's the Alan Cox Show. Everywhere on our free